Hi. Hi there, everyone. Oh, hi. Ooh, I'm a little loud today. Welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals to the stream. Let me get my Discord off the screen. There we go. welcome, everyone, to our wonderful Tabletop Tuesday, where we are going to be talking about a bunch of D&D crap. So welcome. As I drink my tea, because remember, it is always time for tea. And our quick announcement, once again, Shocked by Gaming servers. Now, link is down below. So that helps you out, helps me out, and it makes everybody a happy camper and all that jazz. Alright. Oh, I wonder if my partner in crime is here today. Yes, I'm choking on my lungs. You are here. Awesome. You are quiet. I think I turned you down. I think I turned you down. Let's see. Yeah, my Discord's turned all the way down. That would be why. Try talking now, please. Yep. Oh, much better. Oh, I can hear you now. Yes. And, do you want to do your announcement, or you want me to put the announcement in for you? Alright, awesome. Alright. Little dancing Gamera. I find that amusing. To my knowledge, is like, does Gamera take itself less seriously than Godzilla? Okay, that's fair. That it. That's fair. You probably, if you're watching my screen, you're probably wondering what, like, because you have that little small corner right now of my screen that has, like, what's showing on my screen. My evil game, I have a player that wanted, Kythons as a pet. In the evil game for Pathfinder. And I thought about it for a minute and go, wait, and I read over them and go, doesn't these things already exist in Pathfinder? And I looked over it and went, son of a bitch, they do. They're in the horrific horror adventures. They're the Hive. And I'm not sure I want to give it to him. Because this could end badly. Because, you know, have you had much experience with the Hive from the Horror Adventures book? Alright, so, like, let me share a picture with you in Discord so that way it's not so teeny tiny for you. And I want you to tell me, what you think was their inspiration for, I'm going to put this in photo dump. What do you think was their inspiration for the Hive? Gee, I wonder. Yeah, that was my thought too. I was like, well, shit. It's a green xenomorph. On the upside, they don't use facehuggers. Yeah, instead it's a larval swarm of, like, little maggot things that burrow into people's bodies, achieve symbiosis with the host, and then eat their way out when they mature. Yeah. Like, do you remember the old show, what was it, Andromeda? Oh, yeah. The Magog. Yep, 2 good seasons, and it went on for two bad ones. I was like, fuck this. Oh my god, that was horrifying. That was bad, man. That was really bad. I do not understand why They did what they did. Yeah, because that totally makes sense. I don't... I seriously wonder with the fourth season, like, how much drugs were done to do that. Speaking of fourth seasons, though, I finished the fourth season of Discovery. The ending was actually really good. Yeah, they like, for endings, it actually ended on a really good note. And I was like, I was afraid it was going to go, like, straight up, like, horrible melodrama garbage. And then it kind of took a veer to left field and kind of... It did have some drama in it, but it was kind of more upbeat. And I was like, okay, I'm down with this. Yeah, it was very hopeful. They also had Stacey Abrams in it. Yeah, I didn't understand why people got so upset about it, but I was just like, she did a good job. For a cameo role, I was just like, shit, man, this is a good job. Oh, hey, more power to her. Dang, man. It was wild. I was impressed. I really was. And I will say the beginning of the season was rough, but I can tell that, like, some of the complaints people made about the show changed how the show was written about mid-season. Because the main character became less and less of the problem solver, as much as more of the... How do I put it? She was more like the problem-solving conductor, and everybody else was offering solutions. Yeah, and I was like, this is more Trek for me. I was like, this is definitely it. I was like, yeah, let's see more of that. Damn. Yeah, as we're talking, by the way, I'm monkeying around right now with my dynamic lighting on my next map for my players in my online game, which won't happen for like another couple more weeks. Yeah, I want the stats for the Hooded Lantern. What's the stats for the Hooded Lantern? Alright, so bright light is 30 feet. Low light is additional 30 feet. And it's not directional. Total light will be 60. Okay. That's what I want. Emit light. Other than just emit light, but doesn't have vision. Right, okay. Cool. Oh, what the... Oh, okay. I don't know if I screwed that up or not. Should I turn off the vision? Was that him? Okay. I'm still working with dynamic lighting. It's still a learning process. But one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about, especially on this Tabletop Tuesday, was one of the conversations we had a while back, and we kind of got into it a little bit, but we didn't dive too deeply into it. I feel is the big kerfuffle everyone had with the Drow. Oh my God, why did people? I do not get why people got so upset with the Drow being rewritten, as that's happened before. That doesn't work. I mean, crap, man. Drow and Eberron were drastically different than the Drow in other worlds. So it's like we've had rewrites of Drow multiple times just from 3rd ed on, and we're not even talking about 2nd edition Drow. So I'm like, I did not understand the upsetness about it or anything like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The big thing that always made no sense to me, and we talked about this a little before, was it never made sense to me that the Drow were chaotic evil. And a lot of things, it was like, people were like, oh, it's because Loth is chaotic evil because she's insane. That was the excuse I always got on the forums, or whenever I had this argument with quote-unquote Drow experts, if there is such a thing. Alright? I'm like, okay, you're an expert about something that doesn't actually exist. I get it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Moving on. But with that being said, it was just very much like it made no sense to me because like I feel like the original writers of like Loth mistook madness for chaos. Like they assumed just because you suffer from some form of mental illness, ergo you have to have the chaotic alignment. Yeah, very much so, like to the extreme. Yeah, correlation is not causation. Oh my god, since like first ed. Which helps. Some people just didn't get the memo. I also appreciate one thing they did in 5th ed. And that was with Paladin. I love the fact that they took the alignment restriction off of Paladin. Yeah, and Barbarian, because Barbarian was always couldn't be lawful. And I was like, I always felt like there shouldn't be a class restriction on alignment with very few exceptions. Like, Paladins, for the most part, could be good or evil. Just, if you want to call it Paladin versus Anti-Paladin, whatever, fine, whatever, suits your fancy. Like, when I ran a Pathfinder game called, To Make a King, I ended up making a Paladin for every alignment. And that ended up I ended up renaming every single Paladin that name. So, like, I had Paladin, and then I had, like, Hospitaller was the neutral good one, and then I had Liberator, which was my chaotic good one, and then, like, for evils, like, for lawful evil was the Tyrant, neutral evil was, like, Death Knight, chaotic evil was, like, standard anti-Paladin. The lawful neutral, I think, was the Justicar, and the chaotic neutral was, I forget what I named it. The only one that didn't have one was the neutral. Because I felt like you at least had to have some form of an alignment. Yeah, it's just like, wait a minute, what? It's like, buddy there. What do you stand for? I stand for nothing. The fuck? Yeah. Yeah. God damn it. Alright. I think I got this okay. The only thing I gotta do now is go to the dynamic lighting layer, and I got to draw walls. Yeah. Can I make it green so I can see the wall? There we go. This is the fun part. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but this does make dynamic lighting for the players worth it. Because they're like, holy shit, the lighting stops here. And I'm like, yes, it does. Yeah, I'm in one as a player, and then I'm in actually two as a player. One on Fridays and then one on Sunday. The one I'm in on Sunday is Mark's, and that one is that's fun. We're doing Rise of the Rune Lords, and we're almost done with it. So yeah, that one's fun. I will say that. We've been having a blast with that. I'm playing a Ratfolk Witch that has a racism issue with humans. He's getting over it. Like, that was part of his character growth, was he would stop becoming as racist against humans as the adventure went on. Especially since we had 2 humans in the party. A wizard and a brawler. And he's kind of taken upon the brawler as kind of like almost like a pseudo son. He keeps referring to the brawler as idiot human. But he keeps telling everybody, he's like, this is my idiot human. You do not mess with him. He's an old man rat. Oh, yeah. But, yeah. No, for me, like, the other argument, though, I always got from the drow experts, though, was elves tend to be chaotic, so therefore Loth is chaotic, so therefore the drow should be chaotic evil. And I'm like, yeah, but if Loth really wanted to be that much different than the rest of the elves, she could honestly go lawful. Yeah. No, it doesn't. No, it does not feel chaotic at all to me. Never has. And I'm like sitting there going, why is this chaos? Like, well, and
That was a bad idea.
what's eating or soaking?
Soaking.
Oh.
I forgot I just did dishes.
Oh.
The water was not that warm.
Oh.
I'm not happy.
Sorry, hon. Love you. We're talking about drow. You want to go lay down?
I'm probably going to.
Okay, love you. We're still fighting off the coughs here. Oh, yeah. I did not want to do that because I want to show off the waterfall. Just go like... I've usually used them for political intrigue. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's definitely a different way of doing it, and that can kind of work. I just realized they need to be able to see what the rocks look like, so I'm going to do like that instead. Just enough to let them see into the wall, but to block the light. So do like that. That should work. Oh yeah, it's really helpful. And that's all I need for that one. This one's going to be like this. Because all this line is just blocking light. That's all it is. The players don't get to see the line. They just see that the light hits it. Oh, shit. The screen jumped. And put a line in the middle of the frickin' eating area. I don't think that's how that works. Alright. Alright, so go like this. And I'll go like this. Little rocks there, so that way if they bring their own light sources, it'll kind of block as needed. Now, I'm not doing the door, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate color for the door. So that way when they open the door, I can grab the door and just move it. So that way the light will slowly open through the door. And I feel like that I saw that in a video once, and I was like, that's a really cool idea, and I'm going to use it. The other problem I've seen a lot with Drow is a lot of people tend to use them for,
I'm going to set these here for now so I can go plant that rose, because it needs a much bigger pot because it's starting to die.
Right. Almost mindless evil, if that makes sense. Like, they don't give their raids a reason other than, oh, we see slaves, we want slaves. And I'm like,
That's not Drow.
it's like, Drow don't take slaves unless they need them for a reason. Yeah, pretty much. The only other race I've ever seen that's gotten that kind of a treatment is Orcs.
Holy hell, yeah, this needs to come out like now.
Yeah, it's they're always treated like, how do I put it?
Mindless idiots?
Yeah, like mindless idiots. Like, oh, we must hit this because, you know, we're orcs. Let's beat the fuck out of it because orcs. And for some settings that works, like Warhammer 40k, that works beautifully for them. Well, one, it's a war game, but also, I think I'm being a little loud, and that's why people keep jumping out. I'm trying to adjust my volume real quick. There it goes. Hopefully that's better. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about through Twitch. But also, like, in Warhammer 40k, from my knowledge, they need violence to survive. Oh my god, you know what? Nobody's been hearing your side of the conversation.
Oh.
I am an idiot.
Holy crap.
I just noticed you were muted on Twitch. Oh my god, I'm so dumb.
He's having problems.
You were having a very lively conversation with yourself, I guess.
Apparently.
It's root bound.
Jesus.
All this white is root.
Jesus. Ant's plant is going Berserk. So those who are reviewing, this is Gamera. I'm sorry, he's been talking for a while, and it has not been on the video for the last half hour.
Well, you know.
I am an idiot.
Well, just to recap for everybody, everything I said was right.
Okay.
So you missed some very important points.
I'm sure. I will say though, they're like, what was that writer? Because we talked about this too with the one writer.
Salvatore?
No, it was extra credits. I'm trying to remember it was extra credit. It was a controversy. There was a controversy on it.
Okay.
It was about the orcs.
Oh.
There was
Okay.
There was one. No, that's not the video I'm looking for. There was one. They made a video. It was like stop normalizing Nazis. That's not the one I'm looking for.
Okay.
The other one was it was about Warhammer 40K.
There have been a number of 40K controversies. It's sometimes hard to keep track.
Oh yeah, I know. Extra Chris. Orcs. I think it was like Orcs or something like that. Oh yeah, evil races are bad game design.
I do remember hearing about that video.
Yeah, and it was like, and it was bioessentialism.
If you paid attention to the game's discourse...
I want to mute it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to know who the writer is. Tell me who the writer is. God dang it. Give me a second. James Mendez Hodes. James Mendez Hodes. That's who it is. Apollo. It's Apollo Fire. Hey, man, welcome. Sorry, we're talking D&D stuff today, my friend. Welcome. We're having a blast. We're just about to discuss one guy's really bad take on video games and D&D and Warhammer 40K, because he messed up bad. Because this video got ratio bombed into non-existence. Like, I do mean non-existence. It had 12,000 likes and 61,000 dislikes.
Wow.
That's what it has right now. I'm a DM, so it's all good. Welcome, my friend. Do you DM 5e Apollo? Do you DM Pathfinder? What do you go for? I'm currently doing Pathfinder myself. Gamera, I think you're doing the same.
Actually, no. Right now, what I'm running is Mutants and Masterminds. And I've got a Call of Cthulhu game starting soon. I did wrap up a Pathfinder game not too long ago.
I remember you liked the Mutants and Masterminds setup.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one. But no, the guy's name is James Mendez Hodes. He was the one who wrote this. And he goes on this big tirade on his own thing. I run 5e for the most part. Well, you're welcome here, my friend, because we're going to discuss D&D as a whole. And as well as Pathfinder, Tabletop, all this jazz. This guy basically makes the assertion that if you have...
Welcome, traveler.
Fearless Angel, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale. And thank you for the yeet. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, and enjoy the tales we tell here. So his assertion was that if you use a single evil race, that it is bad game design. You are a lazy game designer, no matter what kind of game you're
Welcome, traveler.
running. Shadow Punches, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the tavern. But that is his assertion there, Gamera. Is that he said no matter what kind of game you're running, if you go with a single race as an evil race, you are a bad game designer.
Yeah, and again, that's oversimplification. You know, you don't want to say a race is evil because it's born that way, unless it's something like a demon that is literally, you know, made of evil thoughts and things. But you can have an evil race that it's not evil because of their genetics. It's evil because the particular culture they represent in the context of your campaign is evil.
Yeah.
If someone wants to use the Drow as their token boogeyman race, basically the totality of Drow culture that the PCs experience is evil, that's not bad game design. That said, if someone makes an effort to redeem a member of that species, then obviously that's a possibility. But
Yeah.
it's like the alignment question we were talking about earlier. It's oversimplification's gonna lead you to say some silly things, and that's a silly thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you all who have joined from the village. I appreciate your support. Though his references to 40K though were the things that made me laugh the hardest, because he made the assertion that the writers of 40K were trying to say that the orcs were evil because they were big, brutish, and dumb, and that the humans were good.
Nobody's good in 40K.
And I'm sitting there going, sir, have you been paying attention? Because nobody is good in 40K. Nobody.
No. You might have been able to make the case in 1988, the year after the game came out, that the Marines were the good guys and the Orcs were the bad guys.
Maybe.
But it very quickly became the sort of dark, satirical, twisted world, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war, that we all know and love. And yeah, nobody's a good guy. The Tau
Charging battery.
The Tyranids aren't good. The Necrons aren't good. The humans aren't good. Ironically, I would say that the best one from a morality perspective might be the Orcs.
I would argue maybe the Tyranids. Tyranids are a maybe for me.
Would say not, and I know where you're coming from on this, because I remember our earlier discussion.
Yeah.
And you're a sandwich.
Yeah, you're a cheeseburger.
And the thing about the Tyranids that I gotta point out is they don't just eat to survive; they eat to expand, and they do so intelligently. It is basically galactic genocide of every living thing that isn't a Tyranid, and
yeah,
that's pretty evil.
Yeah, that's fairly evil.
An individual Tyranid bug is not smart enough to be evil, but the hive mind unquestionably is.
Oh yeah. Now the only reason why I can see the ratios is because I got an extension installed that is called Return YouTube Dislike, and it lets me see the dislike ratio, because YouTube tried to get rid of that.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, because YouTube said it hurts the feelings of the creators if the viewers can see the the dislikes, and I'm like, really?
That's the point.
That's dumb.
I mean, I think it was hurting YouTube's profits was probably the real answer.
Yeah, I think that's more of an accurate assessment. I was just like, wow. So there is that. Oh. But I saw that video and I shook my head. I was like, this is dumb. If you want to design a game and you want to have a single evil race as an enemy, it's okay as long as you understand what kind of game you're running. Whether it's a tabletop game, you have a reason for doing it. Whether it is, like, for example, an army of the undead, that makes sense. They're, for the most part, mindless.
Yeah.
They're under control of some guy in the back going, yo, skeletons, eat him.
Zombie skeletons don't eat things.
But you get my point. It's like, zombies, eat his ass. Go. It's just like, but that's that. Same with constructs. You can do that with constructs. So like, constructs, beat his ass.
Or things like xenomorphs from Aliens, like we were talking about. You know,
Yeah.
They basically exist to destroy other species.
That's their whole reason, is these little bastards right here. Look at this guy. This isn't Pathfinder. Say hi. This ugly little bugger is basically there to just kill you, bring you back to the hive, and make more of it. That's it. That's its whole purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. But, like, if you're going to use an intelligent enemy, you're going to need to have a reason for it. Now, mind you, that's tabletop reasons. Now, if you're building some sort of silly shooter game, I don't think anybody's going to care.
Yeah.
Did they all die?
They started to mildew because I didn't get them unwrapped fast enough.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Angelica's
lose all my
plants.
I hope I didn't just lose all my strawberry starts.
Angelica's worried about her strawberry starts.
I think I have a chance to get them planted when I got them.
But yeah, you can have species that are basically every depiction of them in your setting is evil, but that's just because it's what you were needing them for the story. It doesn't mean that you're implying that all of them are evil from birth.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Anytime I get a player who's of the mindset of, you know, okay, we've defeated all the orc warriors, now we have to kill the women and children because they're evil. It's like, whoa, what the hell are you talking about?
Like, chill. It's like, okay, man, chill. Like, you need to take a few steps back, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I think, and we discussed this, I think, the last time this came up, for a lot of gamers, there's an appeal of that simplicity of just that black and white dichotomy of these things are evil, I can kill them, and there are no consequences.
Some good roots.
Right.
And I don't know why that's so prevalent, except, you know, that's how the game used to be. But I've seen people who didn't play like back in the first and second edition days that really like to think that way. So I don't know why they just want to have that. Yeah, it's okay to murder these sorts of things.
Sometimes it's just they want to murder something that's different and they want to take their mind off of it.
Yeah, and I've had my share of players who really enjoy the tactical combat, the hack and slash aspect of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But even my most hacky and slashy players are not the ones that'll go, oh, well, there are some babies left over, let's go ahead and, you know, finish them off.
Yeah, we don't have that many murder hobos in our games, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've gotten rid of most of our murder hobos. Crimson God Tier, welcome. How you doing, my friend? I keep grabbing my teacup, even though it's empty. I think I finished what I needed to work on for the bandit caves. Good cooking food. Awesome. Food is always good. I just finished eating dinner not that long ago. We had ham soup. So, yep. These bandits, by the way, are not to be murdered. At least, not all of them. Like, the little guys in the brown that I have here are just workers.
Yeah.
They're just there to mine and, like, fish and keep the day-to-day operations going. There's some adventuring style bandits here.
Yeah.
And then the leader's in the back here. And they've met the leader before, so, like, I think they'll try to talk to him. Because they're right now in the middle of, how do I put this?
Offing the entire raiding party?
They're offing the entire raiding party right now in another area. In the ambush area.
In our defense, they attacked us first.
Yes, they did attack the party first. So that is fair. Because they were trying to rob the cart.
Yeah.
And they didn't take the, oh shit, they actually have armed guards this time seriously.
Yeah, they didn't take you guys seriously.
And they learned that was stupid.
Yep. Half of them are dead, and the other half are either disabled or surrendering.
We're going to be dying shortly.
The only person who's still up and running is the cleric.
And that's not going to last very long.
And he's blind.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he got blinded. It was like... And he's got a bear next to him.
Damn fear pissed off at him.
A Damphir cleric of the goddess of death. On one side of him. And behind him is a paladin.
Who's also mad at him.
He's between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. With a fuzzy bear.
Do not roll backwards.
I won't. And then there's, of course, the rhino.
We don't piss off summoners.
So they're dealing with that. The conditions in the country they're in is there's a very strict, or I wouldn't say strict, very strong separation between the poor and the rich. And the party's right now working for a wealthy merchant, noble, trying to get his...
So this got us tickets to go through the country.
Yeah, I got them tickets to get through the whole country without getting too pestered. And the bandits are representing some of the poor.
We don't know this yet.
They don't know this yet. And the name of the country, by the way, is Corinthia.
Okay.
The fun fact is the monarch is... how do I put this? The best way to describe what's currently going on in the country is the... I think it's called the Bolshevik Revolution.
I believe so.
Yes.
The Bolshevik Revolution.
Yes, Corinthia is pretty much Russia.
Yeah, Corinthia is Russia.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and I believe they're going through the Bolshevik Revolution. Hey, Crimson God Tier, thank you for the work. You take care, man. And they're currently fighting essentially the communist bandits who are attempting to steal from the rich and provide for the people. Go figure, eh?
Yeah.
And it's kind of a 50-50 shot what your party does with this information.
Yeah, I don't know what the party's going to do with this information.
Yeah, that could definitely have quite a swing one way or the other.
Yeah, this could go very badly, or this could go wonderfully.
Or your party could give no fucks and just want to deal with the undead problem they came here to deal with.
Yeah, because there is an undead problem in the area. It could go either way. It could be very much a...
Fuck your politics, undead.
Yeah. I'm not sure which yet.
Yeah, I suppose a horde of undead does have a way of shoving political disputes sort of into the background.
Oh, it's not like a horde of undead. They're tracking down a necromancer.
Oh, okay.
Who escaped from them. Like, they didn't capture him yet, but every time they get close to him, he gets away.
He GTFOs right before we get to him.
And he keeps leaving disasters behind for them to clean up so he can get away.
A horde of
Nice.
plague zombies.
Classic villain
Fuck
stuff.
you for that one, by the way.
Yeah. Like, he leaves plague zombies and stuff behind. So, zombies that, when you kill them,
They go boom.
they go boom and release a disease. And also, every time they hit someone, they can also spread the disease.
Of course.
So that's always fun. So there's that. So,
Again, fuck you for the shit show.
yeah, my wife's like, screw you for this.
Because my character just wants to go murder her father.
Yeah, my wife's character's father is a vampire.
Well, being a Dampier, I suppose one of her parents had to be.
Yep.
She's got a hard-on hatred for the undead.
Oh, yeah. Now, we were going to also go over some of our wonderful, wonderful RPG horror stories. Oh, boy.
Bad groups.
Bad groups or bad players. Jesus. And give it.
I was going to say, I don't think I've had too many bad groups. Like, usually the worst that I've seen is either a bad player, a bad GM, or a bad player who is enabled by a bad GM.
Oh, I at least want to mention one that was not necessarily a horror story, but it's a silly story. All right?
Okay.
And it was back when I was living out of a homeless shelter. I decided to get some level of entertainment by running a D&D game out of the homeless shelter. All right? And I got a group of guys together to play.
It was something to do.
It was something to do while we waited for jobs and shit.
Absolutely.
So a few of the guys got together, and one of them asked me to explain what Thieves' Cant was. Because one was playing a rogue, and the other one was playing his long-term partner, who was a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And that he had taught him Thieves' Cant. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. You know, you've been working together for a while. That makes sense. You would teach him these things. And this was back in 3.0. Alright?
Right.
3.0, 3.5, in that range. And I used the example that was given in the book, which was two thieves sitting, talking about the prices of bread, but in reality, they were talking about robbing a bank.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? And they kind of mulled that information in their head. So then they started meeting the other party members. Alright? So we had I think he was an elven rogue and a human fighter. Alright? Those were the guys that asked the question. Then the other party members were a halfling rogue. And then I brought in a tiefling sorcerer. And the other guy was a ranger. I think he was a human ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? So they all looked at my character, and I described what he looked like, and then I described what a tiefling was. And the rogue turned to the fighter and went, "White bread's tainted." I was like, oh my god. Everybody got named after some sort of bread. It was, the sorcerer was white bread. The halfling was named Roll. So every time the halfling would do something stupid, they would say, "Roll is retarded." And the ranger was wheat bread.
Okay.
And they're like, and the ranger wasn't that much smarter, and it goes, "Wheat's getting dumber too." And I was like, oh my god. Like, it took everything in me not to just immediately bust out laughing in that very moment.
Series of bread nicknames.
Yeah, we all got bread nicknames. But no, it's just, as soon as they just one turned to the other, went, "White bread's tainted." And I was like, oh my god. Oh, I couldn't help but laugh so hard. It was great.
Yeah, honestly, I do kind of enjoy the silly, fun stories more than RPG horror stories. I know that there's a whole YouTube cottage industry of reading Reddit-based RPG horror stories, and I do follow a lot of those channels and enjoy that. But hearing about a fun or silly thing, it's heartwarming, it's entertaining, it's that has a lot of value.
I try to mix the two because I use the horror stories as a teaching moment.
Sure.
It's more of not like let's cause pain and show you how stupid someone's being, but more of a, hey, how can we learn from this? How can we be better?
Right.
And that's the key thing.
Can you make an epic pose?
So like the one I that still sticks in my head is the one I recently went through. You remember this one?
Mm-hmm.
Where I had a player that was around for
A while.
And every time she didn't get her way,
It was a shit fit.
she would throw pretty much a tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
And this would cause game to almost shut down for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And to this day, I still am blown out of my mind that she would refer to our mutual friend, Mike, as toxic.
Yeah,
Because
that-
he didn't do things the way she wanted them done.
Oof. That makes no sense to me.
Let us strike
Yeah, like, the dude is like the most chill person you will ever meet.
Until you piss him off.
And, like, until you anger him, but it's like, he is super chill.
But if you anger him, you got what's coming to you.
But
Yeah,
like,
I think it's probably because he was resistant to just giving in and giving her what she wanted. She may have viewed him as an obstacle to what he wanted, to what she wanted, and thus he's toxic
Yep.
because she's heard that word and she has twisted it around to mean someone who doesn't give me what I want.
yeah, but the question is, at this point, what did you expect she was going to get at this point?
This should do
It's
it.
hard to say.
Yeah. So for the viewers who are unaware of the story, we'll go over a brief overload of the story. This was a player who was playing in a game. She was playing a druid in this particular game, and she had an airship. The airship got attacked and suffered damage. She didn't like that because they kept using biofuel to fuel it, so it acted like a dirigible. And she asked for other methods to power the airship, so that way the airship would be more tanky for combat. I brought in my friend Mike, who is significantly more knowledgeable about magic than pretty much anyone we know. Like, I feel like that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
If it's magic, Mike knows it.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love Mike to death. Mike knows magic better than anyone else. Do not ask Mike to make a melee character, though. He just can't do it. It is what he is. But with that being said, Mike gave her an answer. And it was a good answer.
Krista, yeah, what you wanted.
Which was, you take an elemental, you put it in a crystal, and you power your airship with that. Which is secure, it makes your airship go very fast, and it's less likely to get shot down. And it was what was done in Eberron. Yeah, it was pretty much what was done in Eberron.
You deserved it.
Now, she didn't like that. She said that is slavery. Now, Mike went, well, yes, you're right. If you just summon the creature, throw it immediately in a crystal, and don't ask for its permission. But if you summon the creature, talk to it, and convince it to work for you, to get into the crystal and do a job, and treat it like a decent creature, like a being, then that's not slavery, you're merely employing it. And she replied with, that is just slavery with extra steps.
With the inevitable Rick and Morty quote that shows she doesn't understand what it was actually about.
Yeah.
But dress a permit? No, that's employment.
In which case, shortly afterwards, she left the conversation. Just disappeared. Now, me, Mike, and a couple other people continue the conversation, and we try to figure out, are there other options? And we narrowed it down to 6 options. One was one she was already using. Another was the one Mike suggested. Oh yeah, Apollo, it was that bad. Another one was one Mike suggested, which was the elemental crystals. And then there was a few others, like soul burning, which is, oh my god, evil.
That was your suggestion. You wanted to give all possible options.
Yeah, I wanted to give all possible options. Soul burning was the one I threw down because I was like, this is an option. I would highly not recommend it unless you really want to be evil.
Right.
Yeah, she would hate your airships. I'm fairly certain she would. Alright. And then there were a couple others.
Lightning crystal.
But the last one was called Lightning Crystal. They're powered by Warforges. They're powered by Dragon Souls. Oh, yeah, she would hate that. Legna, welcome. Hi. Welcome to the tavern. We're talking about D&D stories.
Welcome, traveler.
Yeah, take a seat. Pull up grab yourself a mug of ale. Mug of ale. Mugga. And my tongue is not working today. Excuse me while I drink more.
That's not booze, you know that, right?
I know, I wish it was. And enjoy the stories.
No, you don't. You have kid duty tonight.
I know. So the last option was called lightning shards. Lightning shards in Pathfinder, which is not a common thing that's discussed, are little elemental crystals. I wish I could, but I gotta go to work, so... Okay. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate anyone who checks it out. Good luck with your work, whatever your work may be, Legna. Lightning shards are little energy crystals that if you draw too much energy from them, they explode.
They go big boom.
Depending on the size of the crystal, depends on how much damage it does. Maximum of 10d6 damage.
Big boom.
Alright? See you, I'm 9 hours grocery store worker. Oh.
I am so sorry.
Oh, you work retail. Here you go. Drinks for you. Oh, someone wants to join the stream. Sure. Inquisition's joining us.
Right on.
Right on.
Like, I can only hear your side of the conversation. So I can only put my peanut gallery comments to your comments on.
Yep. Welcome, Inquisition.
Thank you. Unfortunately,
Goes for
I'm
the
on the
skull
phone, so I can't do my watch the blood cut thing.
Oh, jeez. Well, we're going over the wonderful story of what happened with the person who left the group recently.
Or was banned from the group.
Or banned from the group recently.
Oh, what a wonderful... I'll bet that's a fun conversation.
Oh, yeah, we're having fun with this. So, we got to the lightning shard part. So, lightning shards, they explode if you draw too much energy from them. So, if you draw too much power at once, they go boom.
There's a way to avoid that.
Now, what day do you all play? I I alternate games every Saturday. So we have 2 games that alternate every Saturday. And Inquisition here runs his game on Fridays. I believe, Gamera, you do Saturdays as well?
Yeah, I run my usual game on Saturdays. The ones that I'm in as a player vary. I've got one that I'm in on Fridays, one that I'm in on Sundays.
Yeah, the other one I'm in on is on Sundays. Yeah. So I present all these options to her. And I make it a group chat thing because I mistakenly thought that multiple people owned the airship. Hey, Squiggly, how's it going? And she gets upset. And I apologize for the misunderstanding. Because I mistaked and I thought that 2 people owned the airship, not 1. Now, that is my bad. And I do apologize for that. And she goes off on me, goes, we ended this conversation. The conversation was over. And I'm like, you left in the middle of the conversation. We didn't discuss this. There was no resolution.
Can I just interrupt on the point about... Can I just interrupt about the point where you thought about the airship? You're not the only one who got confused in that regard. I was honestly under the impression it belonged to 2 people as well.
Yeah, it was just...
Everybody kind of helped fund it too. She built it, but everybody kind of paid for it.
Yeah. It was just really weird. And she wasn't the only one who built it either. There was a second character who helped build the thing, and several people also helped put money into it. But we'll get to the second character who built it in a moment, because that's part of the story later. But either way, so she gets on my case saying the conversation was over. I'm like, we didn't finish the conversation. You left in the middle of it abruptly. I wanted to get a chance to finish that conversation. I thought there was a second person involved. There wasn't. Would you like to finish this conversation? Because here are your options. I'm giving you all the available options. That's my job as a DM, is to give you all options. Like, I don't feel like I'm wrong in that regard.
No, I think you were doing your duty. So what if you messed up and thought that multiple people owned the airship? That's something that someone should go, oh, no, dude, you're misunderstand. I'm actually the sole owner. But carry on with the discussion. Not, I'm the sole owner. How dare you imply that somebody else...
Yeah. So, and she kept implying that there was no solution to the problem. And I was like, I gave you a solution. I told you how much damage it does. And I also informed you that it doesn't bypass material hardness. That the damage from the explosion does not bypass material hardness.
Right.
This alone should have given her the clue that there was a solution.
And a damn good one.
Mm-hmm. But she just didn't get through. I was like, okay, whatever. Just stick with your airship as is then. And the airship was repaired and the game continued.
She did eventually use the lightning shards.
No, she never did.
I thought we did.
Nope, never did.
Oh.
Never did.
No, my person did the lightning.
Yeah, your person did the lightning shards. So my wife's cohort was an artificer. All right, who helped build the first airship.
I wanted cheaper equipment.
Yeah, Anne wanted cheaper equipment. That's why she went for her artificer cohort. Totally understandable.
Oh yeah.
But she never went into combat. She was never brought into the adventures. She was left
in a corner building shit.
She was left on the airship to maintain the airship, to watch the airship, and to build things.
To be our alarm system.
All right. So, not only did she help build the airship, she also maintained it. So, what do you think an artificer is going to do with all that time on the airship?
Tinker, I imagine.
Yes.
I also gave her the trait Tinkerer.
Yeah. So she eventually
Reverse engineered it.
Like pretty much reverse engineered the airship. And when they got to the end of the game, when we started getting ready towards the final chapter, basically, she went forward to one of the country's leaders, which my wife's character was married to, and she said, "Here is my designs for what I believe is a good airship." And the player who is the problem loses it. Saying, how dare she do this? She shouldn't be allowed to do this. This is my airship. I'm the only one who knows how this thing works. Da 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 da. And completely just goes off the rails.
At me.
And at my wife, too. At me and my wife.
This is my cohort.
Because it's her cohort. And I am like, I've explained to you that this is a artificer with a stupidly high intelligence. You have left her alone on your airship for a long time. And not only that,
Multiple days on end.
and she also took the lightning shards that they refused to use, surrounded them with a iron core with a door,
Right.
and made it several inches thick. So that way, if the lightning shards ever were to explode, the core would take the damage.
Right.
And made the core interchangeable.
Yeah.
And she did it in triplicate.
And then gave each airship on her design 3 cores that would run in tandem. Making it so it was very unlikely you would ever tax all 3 shards to maximum.
Right.
I.e., how you don't blow yourself up.
And I was accused of basically all kinds of horrible things.
Yeah, I imagine she accused you of, playing favorites, and she probably accused you of disliking her and purposefully trying to mess with her.
So did I.
I think the exact wording was, I would never allow her to have cool things.
Yeah. I remember some earlier discussions that I was involved in very tangentially on the Discord where she was asking for this or that, or she found something in a book and wanted you to allow it exactly the way it was in that book or that third-party source. And you were like, well, I could do this with this modification, and she just would immediately get grumpy because you didn't instantly give her 100% of everything she wanted.
Yeah. And and that's how I behaved with everybody in the group too. Like the artificer in the pirate game we ended up playing with, who was a player, I worked with him all the time about what he wanted, how he wanted to build his base and all that jazz, and said, hey, this is how we do it. It takes extra work. It's not going to be perfect to your design. And he was like, okay, let's work it out.
Go.
And he ended up making a base that ended up producing so much damn money, or I wouldn't say money, but
Goods.
resources that he could single-handedly buy several countries.
Okay, let's just be honest. You could buy the freaking plane we were on.
Yeah. Artificers were pretty busted, I will say. So.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. But it was fun.
We literally just had to give him a wish list of equipment and we could have it.
Yep.
Paulo says, if y'all need another game for a Saturday game, I'm free. I've DM'd for over 6 years and a player for a lot less. Oh, you're stuck as the forever DM, aren't you? I know that pain.
I will guide us.
Until recently, I was pretty much in that boat, but I seem to have picked up several in the last little bit, so I'm happily playing and GMing.
Yeah, I'm so glad I've convinced several people to GM now. I've convinced Inquisition to GM, I've convinced Squiggly to GM, and I am very proud of them both for doing it. Because I know it's been rough for Squiggly, because he's the one running the Rise of the Rune Lords game. And I know it's been rough for him at times, but I am extremely proud of how well he's done.
Yeah, I will not lie. At first, I found it very difficult, but I was, and still am, in for a group of people who kind of got it. This is my first time doing it, so they kind of expected me to screw up in certain areas. And I had a few cases where one of them actually came to me and went like, "Hey, you might want to try this when your next battle encounter. It'll be easier for you to
You're right.
keep track of where."
Stabbed in the hamstring by rose thorns.
Now, I will say this, Apollo, if you can click on the Discord link down below, I have a Discord, and there is a tabletop role you can get. You could always interact with the tabletop community I have on my Discord. You're more than welcome to do so.
Damn rose thorns.
Yes.
That way, if you're ever looking for players, I know I have people on my Discord that don't have games. You could always advertise on there saying, hey, here's my game, here's what time I'm running. Where would that be exactly? Let me look. Here's my... Twitch. Twitch. Let me see. Give me a moment.
Kitty.
Hmm.
It's one of the blueberry bushes.
Oh, nice. If you scroll down under About Ruby Mad Hatter, on the right, there's a little thing that says Discord. Right there. See if I can, display capture. Oh, that's not going to help much. Chat's right in the way. It's right here. Right there.
And I'm now back at the PC, so...
Skulls for the Skull Throne! Blood for the Blood God!
Welcome back, Inquisition.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's right about there. If that doesn't work, let me know, and we will have to send you a link in another way.
You know, the one thing I remember most about the person we were talking about earlier is, in some cases, like...
The open things of dirt are going on the high top.
In some cases.
How do I word this? She would play nice, but it was kind of obvious when you'd be chatting to her that she didn't like some people.
Oh my god, yeah, it was very obvious. Oh no, like, if she didn't like you, oh, you would know real quick.
I mean, I know exactly the kind of person you're talking about. Just sometimes you'll get someone who's just that self-centered and they just can't hide their contempt for people that, you know, won't at least pretend that they're the center of the universe.
Oh, I take it you've had those in your games?
It's been fairly rare. Usually, I'm usually gaming with people I know pretty well, so the folks who have that kind of personality don't usually make it to the table, so it's been a while since I've had one of those, you know, in my GMing experience. I've played alongside those, and honestly, it sort of reminds me of an Eberron. Was it? No, I'm trying to remember. No, it wasn't the Eberron game that went horribly awry. There was a Forgotten Realms game that went horribly awry with one of those players, and the guy in question was actually not as bad as the person you're describing in that regard, but they were very focused on what they were doing in the game, and none of the party plans mattered, none of the plot mattered. He had a very specific goal, and nothing was going to stop him from doing that. And anyone who was kind of not on board with that, you could tell that he wasn't really happy with.
Oh, that's never fun.
Yeah, that campaign actually turned out to be, I'll call it a beautiful disaster. It's not really a horror story, because one of the things that I like to do with a campaign is if I can tell that, okay, we're not taking this seriously at this point, so I'm just going to have fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I guess I will sidetrack us just briefly and mention we were playing in the Forgotten Realms. Me and this guy were the core 2 original players for the campaign, and I think we added 1 or 2 others as we went on, but we were basically an elf, me, and a dwarf, him, as a little adventuring company. We had a charter and everything. We were adventuring in the region of the Dale Lands, and his character's goal was to reclaim his family's ancient holdfast in the mountains to the west. That way he could reestablish a great dwarven kingdom. I was like, that's awesome. That's a great motivation. My character had some motivation to restore the ancient city of Mithranor, so we kind of had aligned goals in the same area. It was great. But the problem was, he had decided that he wanted to do a tricky 3.5/Pathfinder build based on leadership. And he wanted to get certain things that would add to his leadership score so he could raise the biggest army possible. And that's fine. I mean, it does turn the game a little bit away from adventuring to basically personnel management. But that wouldn't have been bad by itself. But what happened was he noticed that the way that the deck of many things had been modified allowed that castle result where you get a keep and some followers. It basically would add to his leadership score. It would give him basically an untyped leadership bonus. So after he found out about that, his goal was, we've got to find a deck of many things.
Of course it was.
And you know exactly where this is going, because the deck of many things is the classic campaign record.
Everyone's going to die.
Well, I mean, it didn't go that badly, but
it could have.
It could have. We did the research. We found out that there was an opportunity in a deck of many things. There was a manifestation of the Goddess of Luck that supposedly appeared every year for a couple of nights. And, you could go and ask for her for a boon, and the deck of many things was very much on the table for that. And I was like, okay, that's fine. My character actually was a worshiper of the Goddess of Luck, so he was on board with this. He had a couple little abilities that made random magic items work better for him. So I was like, I can actually use the deck and it's reasonably safe for me, but, I'm not like whole hog about it. But he had to have that result. So he went and he drew 4 cards.
Oh, no.
No. You're getting ahead of me here. He drew 4 cards and didn't get any horrible cards, but he also didn't get what he wanted. I think I drew 3 or 4, and I got some stuff. And so what he decided then was that he needed to do it again.
It's been less than a week.
The GM was like, "Wait, you want to do it again? You just survived 4 draws to the deck of many things, and you okay, fine." And so he basically went back the next night to petition the Goddess of Luck to do it again. And I wasn't even going to draw this time. I was just kind of along for the ride. And the first card he draws, Don John. His soul is sucked out of his body and cast into, some far outer plane. And I'm like, basically, we're the only 2 core players at this point. If he's stuck there, this game is over.
No.
And the player's like, well, that's okay. If I don't get what I need, then, I don't really need to play this character. I'm like, holy crap, dude. So I had my character take some more draws, fishing for that 1d4 wishes. I got it. I wished his ass back, and I said, if you get sucked in again, I'm not saving your ass. So then he gets more draws, and he finally gets the keep card, but I'm just like, oh my god. He was willing to throw away the entire campaign, like his character's life meant nothing, unless he could play it with that one specific ability.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, gods.
Yeah.
Okay. That reminds me a little of a D&D game I was in where one character kind of got on people's nerves, especially mine. And at the time, and by the way, Ruby, you know this person.
No.
Yeah, well, you know him, that's all I'm going to say. Long story short, just to give you an idea of how liked the character he played was, when he got killed by a HK50 knockoff, one of the party members, now I was playing as a thief turned noble who was trying his hand at being a Jedi, well, a grey Jedi, and I say that with heavy quotation marks.
Sure.
Well, when we found his body, one of the party members had got to him first. And the said party member gave us all a lovely stew. It was the best stew we'd ever tasted.
Oh, no.
Yes! None of us thought, well, I didn't think at the time, but apparently one of the party members did ask later on, where'd you get this meat out of? We were on Kashyyyk, and then we headed straight back home. I don't see there being many big animals right there, because I would have known had you bought any big supply of food. And the character just turned and went, it's just a bit of Wookiee meat.
Oh.
Yeah, it turned out he'd cooked the former character and fed him to his former.
I mean, that honestly seems more like a diss on you guys than the former character.
Which, had I realized what Navita was eating, I would have immediately went, no. But I didn't find out till way later on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, at least he'll be with you always.
It gets a bit worse, but I'm not sure if I should go down that route because it gets worse.
The fact that it gets worse is the fact that it worries me. It does remind me of the other Star Wars story I have that I still laugh at this day, because you remember, Gamera, you said you like silly stories?
Huh?
Darth Airlock.
Alright. So, you know how Mike sometimes has the most insane luck?
Sure.
Even when he doesn't want it?
Yeah.
Alright, so he is playing a Jedi consular, alright?
He's trying to be a good guy.
He's being a good guy. We are in a party where our friend Dalton is playing a Sith.
Darth.
Yeah, Darth. You remember this. Alright? So, or Darth Airlock.
I called him Darth because he was a Sith. He was racially a Sith, and he was culturally a Sith.
What?
I don't actually remember what his character's name was.
Darth Scion, I think it was.
Something like that.
I think.
Don't remember. I just remember him being called Airlock all the time.
Yeah, or Darth.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you guys were trying to stop a broadcast from going out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was going to broadcast and just cause a bunch of droids to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that was bad. And so, in order to stop it, Mike reaches out with the Force to destroy the broadcasting tower.
Yep.
He used several Force points,
This is one of those rolls he didn't want to fail.
Yeah, he didn't want to fail this, so he's like, I cannot fail this roll. I cannot fail this. So he uses several force points, and he rolls not only a natural 20, but he also almost maxes out every force point roll. I remember this. And he lifts up...
Like, on 6-sided dice, it was 4, 5, or 6 every time.
Yeah, something like that. It was like, there wasn't a 1 or 2 or 3 on any of the die. He lifts up the top 2 floors of the building.
And they meet the ground.
Just, woof!
And crunch.
And, like, Mike's character's just standing there in horror, like, and, like, this is patting him on the back, going, well done, well done.
I do remember that.
Oh, that
My
was...
character's going, and you say, I have control problems.
Yeah, because Anne's character also, you know, made that comment, too, and it was like, shut it. Oh, that was great. It was just like, oh my god.
That was just one of those days when fate says this is gonna be fun.
That was just messed up beyond belief.
Here I am. See.
Oh, and
It was a fun game.
yeah. I also remember that was the game where we had the planet with the grave mind and the ricotta.
Mm-hmm.
It's not go well.
Kudonate. Okay, I will rewrite that down for later. That's who we got to raid later. Kudonate.
Okay.
We will raid you in half an hour. We'll raid you in half an hour, Kudonate. Have no fear. We have our raid target. Now remember, gentlemen, stay on target.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember that game pretty well. I basically was, I think, the only non-force sensitive person by the end.
Yeah. I also remember that was the game we had R4 OCD, who literally lost his shit on the on the trooper. Because the trooper decided to run on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah, Anne's character, when she was doing her Padawan training.
Yeah, and he's like, why the fuck are there footprints on that ceiling?
Anything is possible.
Yeah, I remember
swear,
in
if
the
I don't think
game
the Force, we'd all be dead.
irritating the Jedi when I managed to get hold of a lightsaber for my non-force sensitive character.
I remember, wasn't the trooper that handed it to you?
Could be. I know I got parts at the very least from like a black market type deal.
Yeah. I think the trooper helped you assemble it.
Maybe so.
I think he helped you get like some of the final parts that were like you couldn't get normally, and he's like, here you go, have fun.
And I used it to slice bread so it would instantly make it into toast.
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh,
the Jedi talks about how it's a sacred weapon of their culture, and I'm like, yeah, it's great toast.
It's great toast. Say it.
Thank you, CandidGamera. I now know what my character in the Star Wars game is going to do next Saturday. He's just going to start using it to cut up some meat, a little bit of bread, cook it and toast it at the same time. Thank you.
The sandwich saber.
Oh. Okay, thank you, Gandit. That's another thing I'm going to have. Okay, so to make a long story kind of short, my character Navita, as I said, was a noble, and we sort of ran in the Vader, and because I kind of play a character who likes to irritate certain people just because, well, I can, and you're all the way over there on your ship, so you can't really get at me.
Mm-hmm.
Are the two of you familiar with the song "Who Do You Think You're Kidding, Mr. Hitler"?
No.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Yes, he started singing that to Vader, and when I started struggling for the rest of the lyrics, I switched to, "Hey, Mr. Vader, we're coming for your respirator, then we're gonna take your lightsaber." And the DM just goes, "Okay, that's it. Your ship, specifically your ship, is now getting jammed. Everybody else can talk to each other. You can't talk to anyone."
Fuck you in particular.
Yes.
I remember though, like when you went to go deal with the rat ghouls.
Yes.
On that one planet, you're like, oh hey, it's a giant kind of undead plant monstery thing. That's kind of bad. And you're like, okay, we'll deal with it and we'll just bomb it and stuff like that. And then I told Mike, because Mike wasn't there for that game, what had happened. And Mike's poor eyes went as big as fucking dinner plates. Because he knew exactly where I pulled that thing from.
Uh-huh.
And he was literally shitting himself. Because he's like, oh, fuck. Because I pulled the Grave Mind from Halo as the frickin' Rat Ghoul Mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a horrifying thing. Like, oh my god.
Confide in me.
Oh.
Yeah, since everybody else was playing Jedi, or at least a Force-sensitive warrior type, my character ended up being the liar, the pilot, and the hacker.
Yeah, you kept everything relatively running.
And I was very, very good at lying, and very, very good at hacking, and pretty good at piloting, too. So it was fun being the skill monkey to make things go, and yeah, just bluff checks are so fun.
Yeah. There was only one character in the entire game you couldn't bluff, and that was because his sense motive was just that abysmally high.
Trying to remember.
That was the Chiss guy.
Oh.
At the end of the game.
Yes, I do recall him.
Yeah, the Chiss guy at the end of the game was the only person who could literally, not always, but unless you rolled well, could read your bullshit.
He basically had a sense motive that was scummed out and tricked out with the same kind of things that I'd done for my bluff skills. So.
Yeah, he was your counter.
Yeah.
And that was the only way you could be even slowed down.
The character's name was Barton Kendo, and he was just absolute fun. And I'll have to say that my favorite arc from that, for Barton, just as a feature, was the trial of Barton Kendo, where he got framed by that assassin lady who was like tsundere in love with him and wanted to impress him, so she killed somebody and framed him for it.
Yep. And that was on Alderaan, I believe.
Yes. So not only did I get to conduct an investigation from jail, I also got to do my own trial advocacy stuff, and it was a hoot.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was craziness. I also remember that was the game where like everybody got shocked when Morgue Dweller basically went off on an NPC, and like I was just sitting there like quivering the chair and everything, and everybody's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they're like, "Oh, okay," because you look like you're about to break down. I'm like, "No, it's the character." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, and that's right. She was basically the Paris Hilton of the Spaceways. She had like her own clothing line and like spreads in men's magazines and things.
Yep. Oh man. I think you'll like my rune system I have in my world. A way to get more powerful weapons for a price. That's always fun. Powerful weapons for a price is always entertaining.
I like that idea for a price because the way it's worded there just makes me think, okay, there's two possible meanings, either for a literal price or another kind of price.
Enchantment? Enchantment.
I mean, it'll only cost you a little tiny slither of your soul.
Only small
You'll
one.
hardly miss it. It's less than 1%.
Don't worry. It'll grow back.
It's like your liver. You can take a piece and it grows back.
Shh. Oh, don't be a baby. Souls grow back. No, say don't.
You're hardly using it.
Any item can have a max of 3 runes. 3 runes can be on a weapon, 1 on armor and clothes. Accessories is 3 max depending on size. That very much sounds like almost like a Diablo 2 setting.
Yeah, that's kind of what was pinging in my brain. The rune system, like the rune words from Diablo 2.
Yeah, and that's still pretty cool. I love
yeah.
the Diablo 2 setting for that was always cool. I also liked the shrines from Diablo 2.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't implement it in a D&D game because some of them are really kind of heinous.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the randomness is little potent.
Yep.
But some of the phrases that they use for it, though, are really cool.
I think you could do something inspired by them for a D&D game, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Have you... Got a question for both of you. Have you ever homebrewed an item for your campaigns?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of times.
What kind of item was it, and how did you use it? Because I've done something kind of similar, though it's comes with a major drawback.
I mean, from my perspective, I love putting in items that are unusual, that aren't like normally available in the rules, that maybe aren't necessarily powerful, but are useful, or at least interestingly useful in certain situations. And thinking back to my most recent Pathfinder game, the group had fairly early on found a compass that was blessed by an ancient name-forgotten god that basically allowed them to travel more swiftly over land. And honestly, it was a way on my part of reducing overland travel time so they could get from place to place more quickly. But it was a cool magical item that was providing the effect. I also think that I gave them... It was a bell that didn't have a clapper, but if you rang it, if you tried to like shake it, it could be heard by anything undead within a certain radius. So they could use that to potentially find out if there was some undead that was disguised as a living being, for instance.
Drawing a little bit on what It's Apollo Fire, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, said earlier about weapons for a price. I made a brooch that I homebrewed, and it basically gave you, depending on how many souls you sucked into said brooch, a massive boost to nearly everything. Like, hold on, I've got the notes here.
Oh, here we go. He says they come in 5 tiers. The runes give elemental damage of that specific rune. Each tier does 1d6 of that type. Each rune can cover spells as well. First tier covers cantrips and first level spells. Second tier,
I'm gonna go take a natural soak now.
Okay.
That should be warm enough.
yeah, covers second and third. Third covers third and fourth, so on and so forth. 500, 5,000, 50,000. Each tier adds a 0 to the end.
So
Spells.
tier 5 would be 5 million.
Oof.
Welcome, traveler.
Vacant Gaming, welcome to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale and pull up a chair and enjoy the stories that we tell here. 5 million for tier 5, but sounds like tier 5 though might have level 9 spells. That's pretty potent on a weapon.
Yeah. But yeah, Inquisition, you were saying it was basically like a soul drinker power-up situation?
Yes, and it basically changed color the more souls you had in it. And like if you had 4 souls, it would turn blue. And it would give you a +2 to everything. If you had 8, it would give you a +4, and it would turn green. If you had 12 souls, it would turn red and give you a +8 on everything. And then there was one final power up to it where it would go black. Then that would take like 14 souls and give you a +12 to all your stats and anything you wanted to do. The downside was each time you went to use it, there was a 2% chance you could get sucked into it.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was a huge amount of power there, but it came with the chance of you getting killed off.
Yeah.
And by the way, Ruby,
Yes.
the Want to Be God has about 4 of these.
God dang it.
Yes. I think I'm wrong about that number. I think there's more than 4.
That is, as a second tier fire's rune would do 2d6 fire damage. If a fireball spell is put on it, it costs X amount to put on. Item would no longer deal fire damage, but you can cast fireball a number of times. Fireball at 3rd level was put into the room within 24 hours, max of 7.
So basically your tier 2 fire rune could either give you 2d6 extra fire damage every time you hit, or potentially up to 7 fireballs a day.
Yep. That's
Strike as one.
That's at most 7 fireballs a day.
Right. Pretty good investment for 5,000 gold.
Yeah, that's not bad. I can see why it could be useful.
Yeah, at some point on this Tabletop Tuesday, I'll have to bring up the story of... I guess it's sort of a horror story and sort of a comedy story. A friend of mine, his first time DMing, back when we were in college, we absolutely savaged his campaign. And it wasn't my idea, but I happily went along with it because, well, we were, you know, jerks to each other sometimes. But this discussion is reminding me of it because he had basically planned this grand campaign of where heroes from another realm summoned by the last great good wizard to deal with his undead legion, and he's going to give us a map, and we're going to go claim the ancient artifacts out of these treasure caches. And each of these artifacts is very powerful, but some of them have hideous drawbacks. The one I'm thinking of, there was a sword that could slay nearly any foe, but any time you drew it from its scabbard, it had like a certain percentage chance of destroying the entire planet it was drawn on.
Jesus.
And yeah, that kind of stuff. But I'll have to give that some more detail sometime earlier in a session because we don't have time to really get into that.
Oh yeah, no. Thank you, Slip and Slide In, for the lurk. I appreciate it. Each elemental rune can have only have a spell of that element placed on it, and yes, a 5th tier can have a wish spell put on it. The the spell placement though has to be from the same caster. Interesting.
So yeah, you can't just hire like 20 wizards each memorizing fireball to jam a bunch of fireballs. You have to find a wizard who knows a number of third level slots that he can fill up with fireball.
Yeah. Essentially.
Stay behind me.
So, like, if you're a fighter type, you want to probably do it for... I've had players try to break it, so that's why that's in place. Ah. I could see that. No, oh no. What happened to the kid?
Depends also, I mean, is this, it's Apollo Fire, I think, did he say he was running 5th edition?
Yeah, 5th edition.
So that's probably good, because honestly, I find 5th edition lacks in ways to really spend large amounts of coinage, so it's good that he's doing something to at least give them an outlet for that.
Yeah, because you don't get a lot of magic items.
Well, and you don't have a lot to do with gold, because the rules as written, magic items aren't really casually available for sale, which is frustrating coming off of like a 3rd edition context.
Yeah, that was always the problem I had, was like, how do I put it? It just always seemed like they were constraining players with that. The extra damage also made it possible to open the waifu catalog to the fun section. Not sure what that means, but okay.
Welcome, traveler.
Zalgan, welcome to the tavern. Pull up a, grab yourself a mug of ale and pull up a chair. Enjoy the stories here. Okay.
I shall end the suffering.
Oh, he's basically meaning that because of the extra damage that they're able to take on more interesting and powerful monsters. I think. That's what he means by the fun section.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are ways to game it, depending on the extent of the system. I just I'd have to see it. I'm one of those people who can generally find holes in systems.
Was in Network Nation, saw D&D, so had to stop and follow. Hey man, you're welcome to do so. Hey, we appreciate it.
I remember back in the days of 3.0, before they had the balance pass of 3.5, there was just some ridiculously broken shit. And,
oh my god, yeah.
To tell a brief anecdote, we were, I think, 19th level. It was towards the end of a campaign, and we had been hired to take out this dwarven barbarian overlord who was holed up on Acheron, the lawful neutral evil plane, and he was like half dragon, so he was going to be a big tough foe. And my elven rogue ranger, and with a little splash of wizard, basically snuck in there invisible to scout things out. And I was like, well, honestly, we don't need the whole party for this. So I had a rapier of puncturing, which, if you recall, lets you do a touch attack to drain constitution points for someone. And I had I think it was a gem of spell storing or a ring of spell storing that I had a harm spell in. And harm, at that time, put you at 1d4 hit points. So I hit him with the harm, And then, basically the surprise, I run one initiative, touched him with the rapier, and it instantly drained 1d6 points of Constitution.
Oof.
So he was at 4 hit points or less, and then lost a bunch of con. Basically, just absolutely torched him. I suddenly become visible, of course, and his minions are like, "Why did he just kill? Oh, who are you?" So I grab his body and fly back out to the party. And then, the party is able to fight all the minions, and I think our party cleric classed an earthquake and collapsed their building. But yeah, just the nastiest little ambush that you could pull. I'm honestly kind of glad in retrospect that 3.5 fixed some of those holes.
Yeah, because that was a problem.
Yeah.
Because good lord. Oh, man. Jeez. Oh, excuse me. I remember that all too well. And I was like, what happened? More often than not. It was like, because you would see people pull shit like that all the time in 3.0.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Honestly, harm was a big, big offender.
Yeah.
Yeah, them adding the damage cap to harm really closed a lot of loopholes.
And that was something they needed to close too.
Mm-hmm.
I could not think of anything else they needed to close. Oh, there are a lot of other things 3.0 needed to fix.
Yeah. I liked the way they condensed damage reduction a little bit. Just some little spell tweaks here and there.
My apologies. I was called away earlier and I thought I'd unmuted myself to say be right back, and then I realized I hadn't. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
All right.
A 6E coming.
I did not hear that there's supposed to be a 6th edition, but I did hear that they're sort of doing like a revised pass on 5th edition. It's supposed to be like a relaunch of 5th edition, but what they've been saying is that it's fully compatible. So I guess you could look at it as a 6th edition, but assuming they're on the level, it's not going to be like as big a change as like previous edition changes. So yeah, I did hear that they were essentially working on a D&D relaunch, but I'm thinking it's going to be more like 3 to 3.5 than it is going to be like a full edition change.
I feel like some rewrites aren't needed. Definitely.
Yeah, they're calling it a new evolution of the game, slated for 2024. But Wizards has never used the number 6 to refer to it. They just keep calling it a new evolution of the game. They're specifically saying 5th edition will be updated. So... but they have specifically said it will be backwards compatible with existing 5e content.
Well, that's good to know that they're at least trying to think, you know, with what's currently going on.
Yeah, I think 5th edition's in a pretty good spot. It's good that it's streamlined. Honestly, if I want to teach somebody a fantasy role-playing game, 5e's fantastic. It's got enough variety of material that you can easily convert classic adventures from earlier edition. My personal preference is still Pathfinder 1st edition because I just can't get enough of that crunchy stuff.
That's fair.
But I am in a 5e game as a player, and I am enjoying playing my College of Lore Bard as the expert in literally every skill.
I will guide us.
Yeah, it is a combat-focused campaign, but his background is basically that he's detective type. He's a pretty boy partying, you know, dilettante that seems like an airhead, but he's always, you know, watching for little things and clues. We actually did have a murder in one of our earliest adventures, and we were solving it, and we stumbled across the right person, and we had basically figured out it was her, but she figured out that we'd figured it out, and basically threw a knife at me and ran. And unfortunately, when we were confronting her, that we discovered it, we didn't have the full party there, so she did escape the town, but we did, you know, solve the murder and warn everybody that she's a killer, so hopefully no other people will die, but we still have someone out there to take take her down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's about 9 o'clock, gents.
Yep.
All right. So, we got ourselves a person to raid. His name is Kudinate. So, we're going to raid him. If you are a subscriber, please make sure to use the following message. If you are a follower, please use the following message. Please make sure to stick around for the raid because it gets you some extra channel points. And there is a 50,000 channel point.
Welcome, traveler.
Thank you, Apollo Fire, for the follow. Welcome to the tavern. Please enjoy your ale and pull up a chair. The channel points, there's a 50,000 point one where you get your own custom entry thing. You saw the one for CandidGamera as well as Inquisition. So it's a good time to get those points. Alright? You had to wait till the end.
You almost got through without it.
I almost got through without it, damn it. Okay. So please make sure you're taking care of yourselves both mentally and physically. Alright, we are going to raid ourselves Kudinate here. Alright, so let me get my message ready. Where are you? Kudinate. Alright. So I will see you all tomorrow for Wildcard Wednesday at 7 p.m. Toodles.